Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. We have a great program for you today. Great videos, 3 solid ones. Of course, the first one is going to be Nikki Haley. I want to play that one, and then we are going to analyze it to some extent. Well, we are going to analyze it and show the, well, we'll talk about it thereafter. Anyway, welcome aboard E2247 from all over the United States of America. We have Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. Hey, she's in the house. Upstate New York is in the house. We also have para ver, Michael Rattner, AVQ. How are you doing, my brother, from Brooklyn, New York, and from Atlanta, Georgia, the one and only, the beautiful Yvette Avery Herod. Lee Grant is checking in from Montgomery County. So we have our initial load of suspects in the house. Thank you guys for being here early on. Let's get all the others in. Let's make sure that our automation, in fact, has sent out those requests telling folks, hey guys, you can power up that application now because you know what, baby? We are en vivo. Estamos aquí en vivo. I guess the automation has not yet kicked in, but it will be kicking in shortly, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we have a good show for you today. How about it? How about Power Tuesday? What is it called again? Super Tuesday? Uneventful? Yeah, uneventful, but again, it made it final that it's going to be Biden versus Biden versus Trump. Biden versus Trump. Oh my God, lousy choices, but Biden versus Trump is what we got. Okay, that's what we got, folks. That is what we have got. That is what we're going to have to live with. What can I say? We try our best, but that is what we have got. Anyhow. Let's start reading what you guys are putting in the stream. Para ver. All sorts of rainy, gray outside, feeling sleepy. I know when it's a gray day, that's how it feels, man. That's how it feels. Let's see. Biden warned, E22477. 2247. Biden warned by 3 dozen Democrats to ensure Israel obeys international and U.S. law as Rafah raid could violate his 8 February 2024 National Security Memo number 20. And they need to hold him to the fire on that. Let's see. White House got presidential. Okay, thank you for putting that link in there. E2247 also says something that is very true. Silence is complicity. A few words do change the world. And he does have the power for those few words. Use them. Gaza children are without clean water, risking death and disease, without food and starving, eating contaminated family food, animal food, and feces as available grass has already been devoured. Gazan pregnant women and children are having life-saving operations without pain relief. Sad. Gazan children are abducted, taken hostage by armed groups during conflict. 1 of 6 grave violations identified and condemned by the UN Security Council. Sad. Gazan hospitals are unable to operate. Tens of thousands of lives are at risk. There's no electricity or fuel, so hospitals are unable to operate. If you can see those pictures and not feel sick, I don't quite understand one's humanity who cannot see that and, in fact, get sick. We got to get real, folks. We got to get real. Thank you for those little anecdotes there, E2247. Very important that we let those out. There are daily attacks on Gazan libraries, museums, art galleries, and historical sites, part of the wider educational context within which Palestinian kids develop a sense of self. That is the definition of genocide. Destroying the culture, destroying all these pieces. That's what it's all about. That is their intent. Understand that. We don't use the word genocide lightly. That is what is occurring. Before current genocide, more than 50% of Gazan parents and caregivers consulted by Save the Children researchers said that their children had contemplated suicide, and 60% were self harming. I wonder why. I wonder why. Because harming is themselves probably so much less painful than their current existence, even though it's a bad thing. But guess what? It's understandable. It's understandable. Majority of Gazans displaced 1.3 million persons, more than 610,000 kids are now crammed into an area of only 24 square miles, a square 4.9 by 4.9. That is sad. Very, very sad. The Washington Commanders are being sued by the Native American Guardians Association. This is from Eric Hayes, which has been trying to get the Commanders to change the name back to the Redskins. The lawsuit states the logo on the Redskins helmet is an actual person's. It's Chief White Calf. Every time they go out on that field, they were honoring Chief White Calf, and they were battling on the football field with some honor and integrity and courage. They should continue to honor that with, oh, that is such a stupid suit. Come on now, grow up. It's a name. And many find the name offensive. Redskins, thank you. Many find that offensive. I mean, but some people are fail to see empathy. HISD doing something right. As part of its compensation plan for next year academic, Houston IC plans to increase pay for several of its staff members. The video above is from a June 2023 report. During a press conference on Tuesday, HISD officials announced really generous salary enhancements will be coming for most of the school district members. HISD's Chief Human Resources, Jessica Naiman, said they are about 27,000 employees with the district, with an average salary of $64,000. The changes part of the HISD 2024-2025 compensation plan outlined staff teacher salaries, NES, new education system, school earning 2,500 increase at each step. Let's see, earning NES special education teacher earning a minimum of 80,000, and special education 92,000 per year. I think that's good. That's a good thing. I think if we pay people more, we always talk about you get what you pay for, right? So if we pay people more, I'm pretty sure we will get more out of them. I don't understand why our link hasn't fired off yet, but we'll wait and we will wait and we will wait with the expectation that it will. All right, let's continue here. Michael Rodden says, Eric, maybe you should rally to get the commander's name as the Cavs then. Redskin is a racist term meaning the scalp of an Indian turned into a bounty. Do you understand why a lot of people don't like the name Esquire? Yes, a redskin does, in fact, mean the scalped head of a Native American sold like a pelt for cash. You know, I don't see why many Republicans and MAGA Republicans continue to fight just to be contrarian. Don't realize that that contrarianism simply make them seem racist. And that's how that suit comes across, right? Oh, we want to be able to continue. That is like calling a team the N word, and when it gets changed, they say, "Oh, we're doing it with grace." Come on now. U.S. dropping food and bombs. Yep, amazing, isn't it? They're dropping both food and bombs. Food and bombs. Okay, what else have we got here? Brit says, Michael Rudnin, Eric, maybe you should rally to. Oh, I got that one already. That's one he did before. Lee Grant, the absurdity of the modern world. In what respect, my friend? In what respect, my friend? All right, let's see. Pardon, I'm already out of date. Haaretz, 11,500 children have been killed in Gaza. Horror of this, yeah. Egberto, it's more offensive than just Redskins. Please read out my comment to Eric above. He can read it. It was replayed. Let's see what else we got here. Food drop or many school. Okay, let's get started. I want you to listen to Nikki Haley, her exit strategy, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Good morning. Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for president. When I began, I said the campaign was grounded in my love for our country. Just last week, my mother, a first-generation immigrant, got to vote for her daughter for president. Only in America. I am filled with the gratitude for the outpouring of support we've received from all across our great country. But the time has now come to suspend my campaign. I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that. I have no regrets. And although I will no longer be a candidate, I will not stop using my voice for the things I believe in. Our national debt will eventually crush our economy. A smaller federal government is not only necessary for our freedom, it is necessary for our survival. The road to socialism is the road to ruin for America. Our Congress is dysfunctional and only getting worse. It is filled with followers, not leaders. Term limits for Washington politicians are needed now more than ever. Our world is on fire because of America's retreat. Standing by our allies in Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan is a moral imperative. But it's also more than that. If we retreat further, there will be more war, not less. As important, while we stand strong for the cause of freedom, we must bind together as Americans. We must turn away from the darkness of hatred and division. I will continue to promote all those values, as is the right of every American. I sought the honor of being your president. But in our great country, being a private citizen is privilege enough in itself. And that's a privilege I very much look forward to enjoying. In all likelihood, Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee when our party convention meets in July. I congratulate him and wish him well. I wish anyone well who would be America's president. Our country is too precious to let our differences divide us. I have always been a conservative Republican and always supported the Republican nominee. But on this question, as she did on so many others, Margaret Thatcher provided some good advice when she said, quote, "Never just follow the crowd. Always make up your own mind." It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him. And I hope he does that. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. This is now his time for choosing. I end my campaign with the same words I began it, from the book of Joshua. I direct them to all Americans, but especially to so many of the women and girls out there who put their faith in our campaign. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for God will be with you wherever you go. In this campaign, I have seen our country's greatness. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, America. God bless you.
Nikki Haley is a very smart politician. She puts her hands in the sky and see where the wind is blowing, and she does it in with very good terms. I don't know if you guys got it. She didn't come out and endorse like all the crazies on in the Senate. You know, specifically McConnell today went ahead and endorsed Donald Trump. But notice what she did. She opened the door to give her a reason to eventually go ahead and endorse Donald Trump. And how did she do that? It is Donald Trump's time now to earn our vote, to earn our endorsement, is what she's saying. He isn't there yet, but he could be there. She didn't quite say it like that, but that's what she meant. And that's going to be her out to endorse that guy that she completely, after pussyfooting around, that she completely tore to shreds at many times. He's too old. He's backward thinking. He's not, well, he can't do anything about those things. So why the change? And then of course she had to put a dive in when she talks about socialism. She should recognize a few things. She should recognize that her state is in fact a socialist state that's dependent on all these blue states she likes to malign. Her state is a taker. Her state is a welfare state. So she should remember that as she tries to malign others. Shame on her. Very well done speech. And a lot of people are going to look at it nicely. Oh, so sweet. And she didn't even endorse him. She didn't even endorse him. Ah, that's a joke. She's left herself open to do just that, to endorse him. All right, let's see. Para ver. What else we got here? Nikki Haley quits the race. Her path to the Republican nomination was Trump's imprisonment. The Supreme Court's delayed taxes put a kibosh to that. Yep. Lee Grant says if we had to stop using names, terms, words that leftists find offensive, we would have to become a nation of mutes. It's funny because if we use certain terms that offend right wingers, right, they will be screaming. I can't believe you said that. So no, we got to be pragmatic here, folks, and we cannot fall for the diss. We cannot fall for the diss. We just can't fall for the diss. Anyway, Michael Rattner says, "Yep, Trump will take the Republican Party down with him." Yeah, I really think so. The landslide is coming. Where was the part of that speech that she's leaving saying, "I told you so"? And where was the part of that speech that said, "Now remember, this was your choosing"? Remember, Donald Trump, after getting elected one time with a minority of the population of the United States, after winning the Electoral College, not the vote, but the Electoral College, Donald Trump has not won any elections for not one person of substance. Every single time they have run under the auspices of Donald Trump, Republicans have lost. They've lost in the policies like women's issues, abortion, etc. They've lost there. They've lost in every single off year election, and they still continue to support this guy, which I say thank you. Please do, please do. It gives us a chance to get more state senates and more legislatures this time around. While a lot of Democrats are simply wetting their pants, looking at the polls and saying, "Oh my God, what's happening?" Well, they haven't even started campaigning yet. They haven't sent out the grassroots yet. They haven't paid all the people on the streets to go out there and talk to people. They haven't paid the bloggers and all those folks that are going to be out there giving the message. You want to win? Give up on the consultants and start touching people. Start touching the flesh. Start hugging the people. And watch how fast people realize, oh my God, we were mesmerized. We were indoctrinated. We were gullible. Now we see the light. All right. René says, I watched for Twitch for the reduced live stream delay. FV has delayed about 5 seconds compared to Twitch and the 500 character limit with no restrictions on posting links. Good. Paul Fleming is in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. He said, as we say goodbye to Senator Sinema, let's not forget that to save the archaic filibuster rule, she allowed critical voting rights protection to be blocked. She also torpedoed raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, and she did this. Good riddance to her is absolutely right. There's no, and she wanted to claim that the reason she was leaving was because America is not ready for compromise. No, America is ready for compromise. What America is not ready for is capitulation. There's a difference. America is ready for compromise, not capitulation. And you knew exactly how to capitulate, but again, you were probably paid well to do so. So who knows? You were probably paid very, very well to do so. Mike C. Sax says, Breach, maybe we should be adults and not be offended by everything in history. We don't need to be offended about everything in history, but by the same token, but it seems like that's what happens with the right. That's why you want to remove books from libraries. That's why you want to call the slave trade a voyage. That's why you want to call slaves employees. I mean, the kind of crap that comes out of the right. We have it in school districts here where books are just being removed from the locker, saying, "Oh, this is not for the kid. You don't want them to learn." While what it should be is, if a parent doesn't want their kids to read certain things, then don't have the librarian know that your kid can't. But why do you want to control what my kid can read? Who are you to tell me what my kid can read? The hypocrisy is amazing. All right. Paul Fleming says she has to say those things to try to recognize his mega people in her tent. If he folds, if he goes to jail, he wants to be the last person standing. That's why she didn't say all the things that she probably wanted to say. We'll see. And Bree says history cannot be changed, but today can. Absolutely so. Kristen Sinema started out as a Green Party activist and a progressive Democrat, but got corrupted somewhere along the way. She forgot that politicians are supposed to represent the people's interests, not the donors and corporations. Fell off from there. I'm glad she's out, as our brother Fleming says. Good riddance. Good riddance. Paul Fleming says a SCOTUS delays accountability as SCOTUS delays accountability for Trump, and we question once again why Justice Clarence Thomas is not recused. Remember that we still don't know who suddenly paid off Justice Brett Kavanaugh's massive 260K credit card debt. Our high court is compromised and we need answers. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says NBC News confirmed that the probe into notorious deleted Secret Service text message scandal is officially a crime investigation. Mike Cisak says Trump had an 80% success rate for those who he endorsed. Not sure what Egberto is talking about. Notice what I said? People of substance. I'm not talking about yeoman pope person down at a school board or anything like that. I'm talking about people of substance, meaning in the legislature or Congress. Come on now. We have the numbers. We have the numbers. Mike Cisak said, Egberto, so you want porn in elementary school? Again, that's the extreme. Porn doesn't belong in elementary, high school, or anywhere, any school. But that's not the books that are being removed. Okay, I've got lists of books. Ali Velshi carries them on Saturdays every day as well. Let me tell you something, brother. If you don't want your kid reading something, you tell the librarian not to allow your kid to get books without your permission. But you don't have the right to tell other parents what they can do. Punto y final. All right, Michael Rodden says, Mike C., what porn book do you expect to find in the library? My guess, the right-wing bubble has inflamed you rather than informed you. Oh, that's a good one. Inflamed rather than informed. I love that one. Paul Fleming says, another UAW drive. Workers at the plant just outside St. Louis build 2.6 million cylinder heads per year. Should they stop building them, it would cut off supplies for all the company's engines plants in North America. There you go. Lee Grant says, we don't want to ban all books, just the one that teaches oral sex and sodomy to third graders. Again, that is somehow some people have said been there. I don't think when they did read the books and so forth, they found the people that was false. But that's not the point. The point is, if you don't want your kid to have free access to whatever is in the library, then you sign that a piece of paper saying so, but you don't deprive other people of having kids who they want to be completely and entirely rounded. That's not your business. All right, let's see. Bree says they do not teach that. Many friends or teachers laugh at that. Yeah, I mean, the right has gone batshit crazy. That's all. And I mean, it is a matter of control. And if you're worried about these things, you're not talking about things that really, 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 really matter. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So let's remember that. And by the way, folks, remember this is a call-in show, and I kind of like taking calls from the people as well. So you can give us a call at 281-823-7747. Again, that is 281-823-7747. All right, we've got another video. This one is about a reporter who accurately defines those who continue to support Donald Trump. And it's something I really think people should be like ashamed of, right? But check this out. Vaughn Hillyard, correspondent with MSNBC, came to a conclusion that we've spoken about several times. Imagine with all these failures, Donald Trump, after having a full plethora of candidates to choose from, MAGA Republicans said, this is the best we have to offer. This is what will make America the country it needs to be. This is the person that best shows everybody, that best shows you who we are. Listen to Vaughn Hillyard, and then we'll take it on the other side.
More than a year ago, Nikki Haley has been running this campaign against Donald Trump. Donald Trump, much to his chagrin, had noted multiple times that she had once promised that she would never challenge him. But like others, including his own former Vice President Mike Pence, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, and others, they all jumped into the race thinking that they could knock off the former president. Nikki Haley, the last one standing. And with the results that came in last night, in which she only pulled off a victory in the state of Utah, losing in 15 other states, this was a clear message sent by the Republican electorate, that the Republican electorate in the United States of America wants Donald Trump to be their nominee, despite 4 criminal indictments, despite having been found to have sexually abused E. Jean Carroll, despite having been found to have repeatedly engaged through the Trump Organization in financial fraud. They wanted Donald Trump to be their nominee. And Nikki Haley, we anticipate her making these remarks any moment now. And notably, per Ali Vitale, our colleague who is in the room right now, she does not intend to endorse Donald Trump, suggesting that there is a great share of the Republican electorate, the independent electorate, that wants a different message coming out of this Republican nominee. The question here is, would that mean potentially supporting Joe Biden down the road? And does Donald Trump have any interest in expanding his appeal, or does he believe that he is running a campaign that can outright beat Joe Biden as it exists in its capacity right now, guys?
Again, the people who are electing this guy, we can charge a lot of it to ignorance. We can charge likely some of it to willful ignorance. But deep inside, people know what Donald Trump represents. And deep inside, the negative portions, the evil portions of what Donald Trump represents is actually giving many permission to abstract what they want to do. Not necessarily at the level of Donald Trump, but abstract. Have him do it by proxy for them. Think about that. Think about that. There are times when you want to needle somebody, but you don't want to be the one doing it because it makes you look bad, or it demeans you, or it gives people another bad feeling about you or something. So instead, abstracting it, having someone else do it, having some policy do it, so that you don't have to say, I am the one doing it. It's the same thing that we have in the type of capitalism that we practice, right? We love the riches of the gold and the silver and all the rare earths that create all the great things that we create. And we talk about how great we are as a society that can create these things. But this economic system abstracts us from all the pain that goes into extracting the raw materials, extracting all that is necessary to build our comfort, to build our success. Because we want our success on the cheap. We don't want to do things in such a manner that everybody is satisfied. We want to take our bigger share. So in a lot of ways, many of the people who support Trump, in Trump, they see the person who is going to do the evil deed that they don't want necessarily associated with them directly. It's a standard modus operandi. we spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join. Anyway, folks, exactly. Hey, look, Carl Cox says Trump can still win and become dictator for as long as he lives. The Democrats, Biden, are waiting to campaign to defeat Trump. A mistake. They need to start right away. That is true. Now, look, Carl, please stop attacking that somehow you think I'm not looking at your look. I have a whole lot of messages going on here, my brother. But guess what you got as well? Now, because Bruce Pollard has suggested we do it like we do our show at KPFT, we have a telephone number. So if for some reason your message go past me and you really have something that you want said, put it in again. And if it's not seen again, give the show a call. There's one person here, my brother, one person doing all of this to get this message out. All right? I can't have, like many other shows, they have one person taking care of messages, one person taking care of video feeds, etc. One person doing. I don't make enough from our contributors yet. We will eventually. I don't know when, but not yet, to be able to have different people doing these things. So patience, brother. Patience. All right, let's continue. Michael Radden says, what porn book do you expect to find in a school library? My guess, a right-wing bubble inflamed. I read that one already, but I'm continuing down. But he says, and oral sex and sodomy is something you think just gay people do, but they all do it. That lean racist dearly. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Let's see what else we got here. Faraver. Breed says Carl Cox, he has three. Thank you, Breed. Carl Cox, he has three screens scrolling with chat. He reads what he can see. If you need to, then put it in capital and tag him using the @ as well as give the show a call. 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. I'll be more than happy to talk to you on the line. Absolutely so. This is an open forum. Paul Fleming says, soon good legal news. The conservatives' 11th Circuit unanimously struck down Florida's Stop Woke Act as violative of the First Amendment. The state cannot forbid private employers from having training programs on race and diversity as the act required. Sorry, DeSantis, you evil man, you failed. Even your Supreme Court has agreed that you have failed. Paul Fleming says, turns out EV drivers want some of the bare minimum of the same amenities found at gas stations. Can you believe it? Here's how the gas station model can make for great DC public fast chargers. I need to look at that one. That looks cute. Let's see. I have to read that story afterwards, but thank you for putting that out there, Paul Fleming. All right, what else have we got here? Paul Sr. says Biden will never have to forget the women he raped or the Nazis he had over his house for dinner. Absolutely so. Roseanne, good afternoon. Roseanne, how are you doing?
Alberto, hello. I am so happy to talk with you. You are a straight shooter, a good guy, a man who puts his money where his mouth is. Okay?
Thank you so kindly.
And when I say that, but listen, when I say that, I mean through your actions. It's not about money, okay? It's not about money. We have to unite people who actually know right from wrong. who actually know what common sense is, who understand that politicians are not in the game to help, serve, or do anything of the kind for the people. Are they there for us? For whom are they there? They are
Roseanne?
there for their self-interest, right?
Yes. Yes,
So what
Roseanne.
do we do?
Let me tell you what we do, Roseanne. Let me tell you. There are people who want to be in politics, who want to serve, but don't have the wherewithal to serve. And you just said something important. It's not just about money, it's about the vote. You can have as much money and pay for as many ads as you want. But if you can't get to the, if you can't find a way to get to the hearts of the people to vote for you, you can't. And what we have to do, in my humble opinion, is supersede that. That day of hugging and touching and talking is too far gone, but it doesn't need to be. Still, at the level of the congressperson, at the level of the state's Congress, you can actually make yourself be felt. Especially in these times of social media, right? You can be felt in the
Yep.
flesh, but you can also be felt the way we are doing this right now, right? And but politicians don't feel they have to do that because they have enough money to go ahead and convince people through other avenues to do so. What I'm saying, let's get back into the fold where we actually start touching people. And slowly, I think we're a lot. We worked on a lot. We were very successful, Roseanne, here in Houston. We were a part of Super Tuesday, and all the
Hmm.
people that we've endorsed. And not only endorsed, I'm talking about the progressive activist community, worked for, worked the pavement for. We have taken over the local government because of exactly what you're talking about. It's not solely about money. Money helps, and we do need money for those activists. But we've also touched and hugged and shaked the people, and it works. So you're absolutely right, Roseanne.
And you know what? I have run for office, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost because people did not want to face up to the truth. The truth is that we've got a whole lot of things wrong with the system. The
Yes.
system, and you've talked to Patrick Lovell, you know the con. We can't, if we've got rotten roots growing, are they going to give us good plants?
No.
No. We have to attack it at the root. We need, and I think all progressives, all people of good conscience can come together for what we happen to call the Clean New Deal. But nobody wants to, they don't, they don't want to stop for a minute, Alberto, and listen. And they they're tied up in so much uh, uh, shiny objects. I call them. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they like. Oh no, this guy. Oh yeah, this one says the right thing. Why aren't they listening to the message of we are all connected and we can work together. We are not each other's enemies. There are there's a handful of people who are the enemy, and they tell us everybody else is the enemy. They're wrong. We're correct. Why don't we listen to we are not each other's enemy. We can work together. We are powerful.
Let me tell you, Roseanne, you're right, and that's why I keep the stance that I do. I have to get to some videos here, Roseanne, but let me just tell you, I want to first of all thank you for calling in. But secondly, I want to expand on that notion. That is why you would see in our small room here, everybody from every ideology is welcome. Because the one thing that you just said is the thing that I believe most of us have so much more in common and so little, and I
Yes,
repeat, so little
absolutely.
not in common. So thank you so kindly, Roseanne,
Yep.
for calling into the show. You've made
Thank
my
you.
day.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing
Thank,
what you're doing.
thank you so kindly, my dear.
Bye-bye.
Have a great one. All right, folks. I love what Roseanne had to say. Let me just read a couple more before I play the video. Massachusetts is one of 12 states participating in an IRS News pilot program for Americans to directly file their taxes for free. Individual taxpayers pay $140 to prepare their tax. That is so. It's the biggest racket on the planet. Thank you for pointing that out, Paul Fleming. Let's see what else I got here. I got to get to the other video, the last video of the day. Then we'll come back and finish up with these messages. The last video of the day. Let's get busy and move it on. Economic analyst Steve Rattner did an excellent job this morning on MSNBC when he actually detailed in the aggregate, what the Biden economics look like, what the system produced. I want you to take a listen to this, look at this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
This is what you hear from the administration. They tout the unemployment rate coming down, more people getting into the workforce. It's a promising sign for sure. Jobs added, 15 million of them, 10% since Biden took office. Wages are finally moving up 15%. Again, another promising sign. The stock market hitting record highs and new home sales prices. Okay, this for most Americans, this is the largest asset that they'll ever own. If you owned a home when Biden took office and you still own it today, you are seeing appreciation of that asset.
That was Fox News host Sandra Smith highlighting President Biden's economic accomplishments. She did go on to point out the hardships Americans are feeling when it comes to food costs, gas, and credit card debt.
Those are the three issues that are real issues. Credit card debt, gas, groceries.
We were talking about that yesterday. But the Biden-Harris social media account seized on the moment, tweeting out the screen grab and writing, "Thanks, Fox News."
And again, Neil Cavuto's done this. Steve Ducey's done this. There are people in Fox that have done this. Brett Baer at 6 o'clock has done this as well.
Absolutely. The president is expected to tout his economic achievements in his State of the Union address. Former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst Steve Rattner. Steve, what you got? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, look, I think Sandra Smith or Neil Cavuto could probably come up here and do this as well as I could. So let me at least tell you how I see all of this, because there is a lot of good news that the president should and will be talking about, I'm sure, tomorrow night. So let's start with jobs. So since Biden took office, the economy has created 410,000 new jobs a month. And yes, some of that was coming out of COVID. So if you back out COVID, 290,000 jobs per month. This is more jobs per month than any president has created in history. Even after you take out the COVID recovery, this is more jobs per month than any president has averaged in history.
In history, you mean
in history?
You're like what in the 21st century?
In like recorded history, presidential law. I don't know what happened during George Washington, but it's more jobs.
History.
Yes. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's talk about the overall economy, because that job growth has fueled a lot of economic growth. 8.6% cumulative GDP growth in his first 3 years, more than Donald Trump in his first 3 years. Second only in recent history to Bill Clinton, who took office, as you'll recall, as we came out of a recession and got a bit of a bump from that. Do you want to talk about wages? We can talk about wages. Actually, let me just say one quick word about inflation. We do have to acknowledge there was inflation at the beginning of the Biden term. We were coming out of COVID.
Pretty bad.
The economy was reopening, had a bit of inflation. But look where we are now. Last year, 3.1%. That is a little bit higher than recent presidents, but in the strike zone and coming down. And looking ahead, economists expect this will be below 3% by election day. But even with a bit of inflation, Mika, to your question, let's look at what's happened to wages. So even after adjusting for inflation, the average American has 2.9% more income today than he or she had before Joe Biden took office. But what's even more interesting in a lot of ways is look where that income has been dispersed. If you were at the bottom quartile, if you were among the poorest, least well-off Americans, up 6.3%. If you're among the wealthiest Americans, up just 0.2%. And what that means is that it may not be huge, but income inequality got lower under Joe Biden.
Well, and Steve, we always talk about how it's always about trend lines. I mean, this has got to be one of the first times in the past 50 years that we've seen that sort of shift where the rich weren't getting richer and the poor weren't getting poorer.
Yes, we've had a move toward income inequality really certainly going back at least 30 or 40 years. And this is one of the first times that you've started to see it narrow. That is true. And so that is another thing to be said about the Biden presidency so far.
I get that right. And what do we have next? What's your next chart going to show us, Steve?
So let's talk about economic sentiment. Look, Biden has obviously a huge amount of accomplishments besides this: the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Act, Build Back Better, prescription drug prices. You could go on and on. And we all know consumer sentiment was pretty tough. And so you can see that when he took office, since he took office, consumer sentiment went down, down, down like that. This is the average. Interestingly, of course, what you think depends on where you sit. Democrats always more positive, Republicans less positive. Opposite true under Trump. But consumer sentiment bottomed back in 2022, and it has recovered pretty substantially. And so you can see on average, consumers' sentiment went up 28 points. Democrats up 25, Republicans actually up a little bit more, even though still less optimistic. And so to the question that we always talk about, why is this not in the polls? Approval rating for Biden's handling of the presidency, yes, it went down, down, down. But look over here, and I don't want to cling to small hope, but it does appear it has turned up. His approval rating on average, this is Real Clear Politics data, for his handling of the economy has gone from 40% to 47%. So many people believe there's a lag effect, that it takes a while for good news, especially about inflation, to be picked up in consumer sentiment and then to translate into better poll numbers. And maybe we're beginning to see a turn for the president here.
Now, this is important. First of all, these are the numbers and they're all in the charts. It is absolutely clear that comparatively with all other administrations, this was from an economic standpoint, as we know, economics in the United States has been a colossal success. Now, people would say we are not feeling it, or as it turns out, the inflation rate is XYZ. Look, there are two parts here: recovering from the status quo to improvement, and revolutionizing an economic system that benefits all. Every single president has been able to do is maintain the status quo and sometimes go beyond the status quo to improve the lives of some. We have constantly had a flow to economic disparity, to wealth disparity. From the inception of this country, from the inception of capitalism, because that is how that is the end stage of capitalism. If one sector grows faster than the majority sector, then you're going to get the income inequality, the wealth disparity that we see. Now, you can't judge Biden from a different book from which you judge Bush or Trump or Obama or Clinton or Reagan. Putting all of these, judging them in the same book, Biden comes out way ahead with what his economy is doing and has done to move people out of poverty, etc. And that is understood because the pandemic gave him the opportunity to use Keynesian economics as well as modern monetary theory to go ahead and bring the economy back. That is the reason why the American economy, in the aggregate, again, as I make sure to state, is doing better than every other economy, every single economy in the world. And that is the reason why we've used these economic systems. Now, that said, like we preach here all of the times, unless unless we make the changes necessary in our social programs, and unless we right size public versus private correctly, we will not continue to see improvement in the lower classes, the middle classes, etc. Because the formula that governs our current economic system, whether it be here in the United States or Europe, all under this economic system, is designed for those who have capital to extract it from those who have little or none. That isn't a Biden's problem. That is an economic problem that we as a society have to decide to solve. And when we decide that, we will empower whichever politician is hired, is voted in to do the right thing by creating an economic system that works for all. This one doesn't, but Biden is writing it best he can to make it work for many.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
So it was clear. Yes, join, please. Please join. We need your support. Thanks, Egberto, for letting persons sound off. It is important. It is very important. All right, let's see what else we got here. Mike Cisak says we will have an economic crash after March. Mike Cisak, you remember how many times you said that before? How many economic crashes were we supposed to have according to you, Mike Cisak? You also remember that you stated several times that we were going into recession. Instead, modern monetary theory and Keynesian economics worked perfectly. Think about it. That is the only reason the economy survived after Trump almost destroyed the entire country. Let's remember these things. Let's remember these things. It is simple. Mike Cisak says we have an economic crash. No, we won't. Maywood says, I thought the IRS had been doing that for years. Seems to me we have a long had option to calculate the tax return. There's some of them, but it can't do more intricate ones. Egberto Willis, did I miss this? Reporter exposes MAGA Republicans. Yes, what he did is it was the sentence that he used. I think I played that one already, where he stated that imagine with all these things, with being a crook, with being a criminal, with having all these indictments, they still decided to make Donald Trump their bearer, the person who's doing what for them. So yes, that is the issue. Anyway, folks, I'm going to have to shut us down a bit early today. We have some extenuating circumstances. So let's go ahead and remember to give us to support us. There are several ways to support the program. How can we support the program? First of all, go to politicsdoneright.com/support. That is the best way to support the program. It has all the different options under which you can support Politics Done Right, politicsdoneright.com/support. Alternatively, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Remember, the newsletter is free, but for anybody who decides to become a paid member of the newsletter, and I ask you so kindly to do so, those who become paid members of our newsletter, guess what? All our books are read for free online. And guess what? The new book is out. Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean man. Racism didn't stop my smile, hope, or journey forward. Consider getting this book. It will change your mind, not only about prejudice, but about many things that you would see otherwise. Go to politicsdoneright.com/books. Again, I repeat, politicsdoneright.com/books, and you can pick up a copy there. You can either get the paperback, or you can also get the hard copy or the Kindle version. I'm working on the voice one. What is it called? What is it called again? I'm losing my mind. Audible. I'm working on the Audible version right now. So that will come in the future. I don't know how soon I'll be able to get that done. But again, it's a good way to support Politics Done Right. Getting our books, signing up for our newsletter. It's the way to go. But again, all the options to support the program can be found at politicsdoneright.com/support. That is your best value. We are getting things done. But anyway, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.